Coming up on Arirang News, South Korea reports more than 600 new cases of COVID-19, the most in more than a month, prompting concerns that there'll be another spike due to the mass travel seen over the recent Lunar New Year holiday. South Korea approves almost 800,000 doses of the vaccine developed by AstraZeneca for use on people at nursing homes who are under the age of 65. Those shots will be given starting late next week. And the government is speeding up its plans to provide hundreds of thousands of more housing units. The areas to get them, it says, will be finalized by the second quarter of this year. It's 5 p.m. here in Seoul. Thanks for tuning in to Arirang News. I'm Devin Whiting. South Korea saw a sharp rise in the number of COVID-19 cases reported Wednesday, more than 600 for the first time in over a month. Officials are especially concerned about the recent cluster infections in factories. The government says that tougher distancing measures could be imposed again if the spread of the virus doesn't slow down. Paeunji reports.
South Korea confirmed 621 new COVID-19 cases on Wednesday, the first time in over a month that the figure has surpassed the 600 mark. More than 70% of the locally transmitted cases came from Seoul and its surrounding areas, but cluster infections have been reported outside the capital region. Over 100 cases so far has been linked to a mass outbreak at a gas boiler factory in Asan, Chungcheongnam-do province. Most of those infected worked in the same building. Health officials speculate the virus may have spread through electric fan heaters in the poorly ventilated building, as the virus was detected in building's heaters, vending machines, and the conference room table. Another cluster infection was reported at a plastic factory in the city of Namyangju, Gyeonggi-do province. Out of a total of 158 workers, 114 tested positive for the virus, many of them foreign laborers who lived together in a dormitory. The government said if the rapid spread of the virus continues, the level of social distancing may be raised again.
The caseload has been on the rise since the Lunar New Year holidays. It's hard to tell if this is leading to another wave of the outbreak or just a rise in cases because of more testing.
There were 4 more deaths on Wednesday, raising the death toll to 1,538. Paeunji, Arirang News.
The Ministry of Food and Drug Safety has given the green light to the first batch of the vaccine developed by AstraZeneca to be administered starting late next week. The ministry announced on Wednesday that this applies to the doses for 787,000 people being produced by South Korea's SK Bioscience. They're for all people at care facilities and hospitals who are below the age of 65, with inoculations to start on Friday the 26th. The ministry said the approval process took about 20 days instead of the usual 2 or 3 months. U.S. President Joe Biden's top economic advisor, Brian Deese, spoke on the phone Wednesday with a top advisor to South Korean President Moon Jae-in, and he suggested that the two countries strengthen their bilateral and multilateral cooperation on economy and trade. According to the Blue House, he and President Moon's Chief of Staff for Policy, Kim Sang-jo, agreed on cooperation there and in the fight against climate change. They also noted similarities between Biden's plan for a recovery in jobs and the economy, known as Build Back Better, and President Moon's policies described as expansive and embracing. This was not only the first call between these two officials, but also the first direct communication between the Blue House and the U.S. National Economic Council. The Blue House said this shows the increasing importance of economic cooperation between the two countries. The wife of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has been seen in public for the first time in over a year. Experts say this could be the regime trying to show that it has the pandemic under control. Kim Dami has the details.
After maintaining a low profile for over a year, Lee Seol-ju, the wife of North Korea's leader, is back in the public eye. The regime's state-run newspaper, the Nodongshinmun, reported Wednesday that she joined her husband for performances to mark the regime's founder, Kim Jong-il's birthday. Watchers say Kim and Lee's rare public appearance on Tuesday is the regime's way of showing it's a normal and virus-free country.
The regime wants to show confidence it has the pandemic under control. It's also aware of rumors from the international community, so Research's appearance aims to show there's internal stability.
Neither social distancing nor the wearing of masks was practiced during the performances. Speculation had been rife that Lee may be pregnant, as she also skipped major events like the 75th anniversary of the ruling Workers' Party last October. However, it could also be that there were not too many opportunities or reasons for her to be out in public.
There were not a lot of places for Lee to join Kim due to emergency situations like the pandemic and the natural disasters that happened last summer.
The expert added Lee has instead focused on taking care of her children, especially during the health crisis. In celebration of the event for his grandfather, Kim Jong-un gifted school supplies to orphanages and kindergartens across the regime, attempting to show a softer side through his wife's presence. South Korea's National Intelligence Service noted Tuesday that no abnormal movement by Lee has been detected over the months, adding she's probably kept a low profile due to the pandemic. Unlike the wives of previous North Korean leaders, Lee has been quite active, accompanying Kim to numerous events and sites, including when he rode a white horse on Mount Baekju in 2019. Kim Da-mi, Arirang News.
The South Korean government is speeding up its plan to provide more than 830,000 new housing units by 2025. Finance Minister Hong Nam-ki said on Wednesday that the sites where these homes will be added through redevelopment projects and other methods will be finalized by the second quarter. Kim Jae-hee has the details.
South Korea's Finance Minister Hong Nam-ki said on Wednesday that the government will put its utmost efforts into accelerating the implementation of its latest housing supply plan announced on February 4th. The so-called public-led 3080+ plan aims to stabilize the overheated housing market. Under the plan, the government will supply 836,000 new housing units across the country by 2025 by redeveloping housing areas and securing new housing sites. Of those, 616,000 units will be in the Greater Seoul area, with 323,000 in Seoul. Hong, during a ministerial meeting on Wednesday, said in efforts to accelerate the implementation of this plan, the government will quickly select the candidates for land to build some 250,000 new housing units on.
To prevent market confusion, we will announce the candidate sites for about 250,000 new public housing units starting in the first quarter and complete the selection process by the second quarter of this year.
Hong also stressed that when the government's latest housing supply plan is coupled with existing plans, a total of 2.05 million housing units will be supplied nationwide by 2025. He noted this is the largest supply of housing since 2000. Hong was also optimistic of the latest home supply plan's impact on the housing market.
It's too early to judge the impact on the housing market of the latest supply plan, but last week's housing market statistics showed that the increase in home prices in Seoul and regional provinces has slowed down slightly.
He also warned that now is the time for people to contemplate for longer and make reasoned decisions before deciding to buy houses. Kim Jae-hee, Arirang News.
The price of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin passed $50,000 on Tuesday for the first time as more companies and institutions started buying. Some say this time the rally is different, but Bitcoin is also widely seen as the biggest bubble out there. Lee Sung-jae reports.
Bitcoin's stunning rally continues, breaking $50,000 for the first time ever on Tuesday. The world's largest digital currency by market capitalization rose more than 3% to an all-time high of $50,602 at one point, before regressing to just over $48,000. Bitcoin has risen 72% so far in 2021, with most of the massive gains coming after Tesla bought $1.5 billion worth of the digital currency. However, it's not just the American electric vehicle giant that's been warming to the cryptocurrency. Major U.S. institutions have also been putting their money where their mouth is. Many experts say this rally is different from the 2017 bubble, with J.P. Morgan this year saying Bitcoin could hit $146,000 if it becomes an established safe haven. Others, however, are more cautious, believing it could be an even bigger bubble than the last.
Bitcoin would quite qualify as a high-risk investment. If you buy Bitcoins, you should buy with keeping in mind that the value could be zero the day after. For now, even if it shouldn't happen, there's still a chance it could happen. There's no guarantee, there's no nothing behind Bitcoin trying to keep the market value high. And while there are more and more people buying Bitcoins, for now it's still a high-risk investment.
Some economists, including L'Oreal Rubini, have even said Bitcoin and other digital currencies have no intrinsic value. A recent Deutsche Bank survey also indicated that investors view Bitcoin as the most extreme bubble in the financial markets. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined on the line by Dr. Yang Jun-seo, Professor of Economics at the Catholic University of Korea. Professor Yang, thank you for making time today.
Happy to be here.
Well, stocks in New York ended mixed on Tuesday, though the Dow did close at a new high. Investors are concerned, though, about a surge in Treasury bond yields to the highest level in a year, and that in part sent the S&P and the Nasdaq lower. What's the story in the global markets?
Okay, well, the U.S. stocks had Monday off because of their President's Day holiday, so we only have Tuesday's data to work with. And all the indices did hit midday highs, but they ended up mixed. Dow, as you said, hit the historical high, but S&P and Nasdaq, they fell. And the reason, as you cited, was that the Treasury bond yields rose to 1.31%, which is one-year high. Now, why is there an increase in the interest rate? There seems to be some fear of inflation and such, but perhaps another reason is that fourth quarter earnings have been very positive, beyond the analyst expectations. And this is the first time since fourth quarter 2019 that the earnings have been positive year on year. So there might be some speculation that U.S. is getting out of the recession brought on by the coronavirus. Europe and Asian markets, they seem to be taking a wait-and-see attitude. All of their markets are holding steady or mixed. And for Europe, the big news there seems to be not necessarily how the stock market is doing, but because of Brexit, more stocks are moving out of the London Stock Exchange and moving into Amsterdam. So Amsterdam may become the center of European Union stock transactions.
And now Korea's main index, the Kospi, closed lower today by about 0.9%. The Kosdaq with a modest gain, though. Tell us about the local market.
Okay, well, Kospi and Kosdaq, foreigners and institutions, sold today, individuals bought. And looking at the stocks which are bought by foreigners, one interesting aspect is that, well, there was a ruling by the U.S. International Trade Commission, which ruled that SK Innovation infringed on patents for electric vehicle batteries by LG Chem, LG Energy Solution. So it prohibited most exports of batteries by SK to the United States. And that seemed to be affecting the stock market somewhat. But interestingly today, all the major electric vehicle battery makers stocks were bought by foreigners. As Samsung SDI and LG Chem were the top two purchases by foreigners, but SK Innovation was among top 10 stocks bought by foreigners as well. So that seems to be either giving a signal that perhaps President Biden will overrule the ITC and allow SK's exports to the United States to continue, or that the electric vehicle battery industry will be so strong that SK will be able to get around the prohibition or pay off LG Chemical for patent infringement.
Certainly an issue that investors will be watching in the weeks and months to come, and us as well. Professor, we'll have to leave it there for today. Thanks so much for sharing your insights with us.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of this newscast. Thank you for watching. More live news coming your way at 7 p.m. Korea time.